Stone County Extension saves the world.
Guess who's back?
Back again.
Guess who's back?
What?
Tell a friend.
Oh, okay.
It's Stone County Extension Saves the World, Episode 3. We're back. We've been gone a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we've been busy.
Yep, having other things to do.
So I was at my NEAFCS conference, which is National Extension Association of Family and Consumer Sciences.
It's a mouthful.
It is,
yeah.
at Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Grand Rapids, Michigan.
And
all the
Michigan
way to
was nice.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I was over in Northeast Arkansas for the iLead program. It's pretty neat.
What'd they have you doing over there?
We just kind of went around and toured some of the research stations. Like we went over to Kaiser, like the first day. It's like the Northeast Research and Extension Center. A lot of cotton is what we learned about over there.
When we were on our way through the Boot Hill, they were harvesting a lot of cotton, and the fields were beautiful, and they were making those huge bales.
Yeah, we got to talk with the breeder. What was his name? Dr. Fred Borland. He was real neat, like old man. He seemed real cool, real chill, but he's like one of the last ones in the, I think, nation that are funded like through like extension, like one of the last breeders.
Cotton specific.
And so he's breeding cotton.
Did you know it came in many different colors originally?
Yeah, like they showed us like
green and
brown.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like natural. The white that we think of is like they've bred it. It's the mutated version.
Yeah, I remember the day I learned that it was different colors. I think even pink maybe. But I have seen the green. I've seen that before.
Yeah, and there's
pretty cool.
A lot of different varieties. I don't know nothing about row crops really.
It's a little rocky and hilly up here.
On forages and beef. That's what I kind of know, and fruit and vegetables.
A few blueberry things, maybe.
Yeah, but it was real neat. We stayed in Jonesboro and then went to the Northeast Research Station, or Research Extension Center, and then we went over we had like a farm tour, and they showed us, you typically think of rice as like flooded fields, but we went over and toured, I may be mixing up my days. We went to the Rice Research Station over there at Harrisburg, and showed us row rice. That was neat. I've never been around rice. So not all of it's flooded? Yeah, they run that poly pipe, that white poly pipe, and then poke holes in it, and their fields are kind of, I think they said, on a 2% grade, and it just kind of goes down. One guy we seen, he was working on a project where they could like flood the field, and it'd go down and get into a reservoir, and then he could pump it back up and recycle it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was real neat.
One of my good friends in college, she knew a family, and they grew rice on their farm for an entire country. Just that family alone supported an entire small country. That's amazing to think what farmers in Arkansas can do.
Well, Arkansas, we're the number one in rice production in the United States.
Yeah, that's impressive.
But, what else did we do? We went and seen a cotton gin. Have you ever seen that? That's neat.
No.
That Eli Whitney that invented the cotton gin. Smart people.
I'm glad there's people smart.
Yeah,
no, maybe we shouldn't have that in there. I'm glad people are a lot smarter than I am. Yeah. You don't want me doing brain surgery on you or anything.
Yeah. So. But went to a cotton gin, and that Dr. Fred Borland, he had like a little mini cotton gin and showed us kind of how the process, and it's like sawtooth. It's like, think of a circular saw and just like a bunch of them stacked together, and you like feed that cotton in there, and it's spinning and like separates the seed from the like the actual cotton. And then at the actual cotton gin, like they were able to separate the seed and then send the seed off and store it. Cotton seed it has a lot of different uses, but feedstuffs is one that I'm interested in. I'm sure they can
seeds, whole, mill.
Yeah. And then send the gin trash, like it'd be able to separate a little bit more and send all the trash out, which is also used as a feed stuff, and then it'd take the processed cotton and compress it into like a little square bale that they'd send to a warehouse, and from there they said that it went to like where they make the thread and they refine it a little bit more and clean it and turn it into thread. But that cotton stuff's neat. And one other thing that we learned about that I thought was crazy is like all these guys that are doing row crops, you know, we're talking about trade wars right now and all that's going on in the world, but these guys are going in. This is what's great about farmers, that they're willing to do it. They go in knowing that they're going to take a loss, like they're not going to make any money, and yet they're still going out there and doing it. And you wonder, like, how they are able to do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know what you feel about government subsidies. Well, some people, you know, say, oh, we're paying, you know, farmers don't need subsidies, and other people are saying, yeah, they rely on these subsidies. But it's the way I think about it is like they're subsidized to keep it low, you know, keep the price of stuff low. We're seeing high beef prices right now, and
yeah, with the Argentina,
with Argentine
thing.
beef coming in, and people, you know, we're seeing real high beef prices in the store, and what farmers are getting historically high prices right now, but their margins are so thin.
I don't feel like it's interesting how it affects the different areas and the different types of farmers. Whereas we're a small farm and we sell beef, and
you're direct. Y'all sell direct.
We do
to consumer.
direct to consumer, and it's more of a positive thing for us when grocery store beef prices go up. Yeah. We have a superior product, so those who can afford to buy a superior product. But as a whole, if you bought all the cuts from us at the store, it would be exponentially expensive, but it's the upfront cost sometimes of purchasing a quarter, half, or whole, but we also do pieces. We have some inspected meat, but
I think we'll come back and we can talk about that a little bit more here in a minute. But so tell us a little bit
about my conference.
About your conference, because
we went up to Grand Rapids, Michigan, and it's from Monday to Thursday, the actual conference. And I always enjoy the sessions. It's really nice to know what agents across our nation are doing, not just our state, our nation, and they submit for awards, and they can also submit to present a program. And a few of the ones that really stuck out to me are the ones that I attended. There was a poverty simulation, very similar to a reentry simulation that we do in Arkansas, but they're doing that in Oklahoma. And I thought, with everything happening right now, that would be a very interesting program to get to go through. And they talked about that a little bit. And then digital with the older adults was a few sessions I attended.
How do you think that'd be?
I think I might need help too, so I'm not sure if I could be the one helping, but I know how irritating it's getting as I get a little older when things change on my phone or computer, and so a lot of older adults, I think that was out of Ohio Extension, he said they were really interested in music, and so getting music or the digital coupons on your phone, and they said one time they drove around for an hour getting a lady's Bluetooth set up on her car.
I bet I got some guys that needing help doing their premise ID tags so we can come do the bangs. I'll be like, Anna's working on...
thanks,
Anna's working with older adults with this technology. Just come on in. I'm
come
sure she'll
down.
Be happy to sit with you and...
and
figure out how you can work this technology.
I think we may have to find a few younger individuals to assist. But, we always tell people to come in if they're having trouble with some of these online sign-ups for programs.
I think technology, like we got that grant for that Logitech system, that camera, and I was setting that up. I'd set it up when it first come in, and it messed up.
I know how that went.
Yeah. So little story, like our boss, and what was he coming to do? To talk to us, to give us some updates and see our office. And I was so confused. That thing had me so flustered. I'd spent all day like putting it up and taking it down to get it right, and then it got paused on this deal.
Yeah, and you kept messing with it.
And
We're
he'd come
supposed to
in-
have this
he'd
meeting.
come in, and we're supposed to have this meeting, and I was just so unaware of what was going on. I'm like asking him questions, and he's like, I think that's a job for IT. I think that's a job for
Yeah,
IT.
he needed to go.
And then, yeah, he's in a hurry. And then Anna yelled at me. Yeah, I want to tell you something. You yelled at me.
Well, sometimes I bottle up
Yeah.
my things and then it blurts out.
Well, then I got
Well,
under the
I think-
assumption that Anna and Brad were talking about something that I didn't need
That
to
was something
hear.
important, and he
And
just
so
left.
I left.
I was like, I think I said, why don't you work on it later or
Yeah,
something
you're
like
Tyler.
that. Like,
And then
I
I-
lost all patience
Yeah,
waiting
and then I
for you.
left. And then
I had
I
to
was,
go in there.
and then you come in there and get me.
And I was like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Brad's needing to go. He's needing to talk to us. And I'm just like, daggum. Well, then last
Gosh.
week I had
just
to
feel like such an
finish
idiot
setting it up.
sometimes. Oh, yeah, I
Yeah,
got a
and that was-
picture. Your
oh,
dad
yeah.
crash out was about to ensue.
I was about to have a big crash out. I have them every now and then.
Yeah, don't we all? Don't
Yeah.
we all?
I think most of the time they think it's funny, but one time I think I made you mad.
Yeah, I didn't think it was funny that day. I had about all
I had about all the
all
crashing
I
out.
could do.
That printer. The printer was
That thing's
making me mad.
infamous. Yeah.
So you
Oh,
went
man.
to Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Yeah. So, digital help with digital technology. Family meals was one thing that come up a lot. So, hoping to do something with that. And then there's another thing I'm going to talk about, but it involved cooking and 4-Hers, and hopefully a group of us can get something going with it. That session I was in, I really liked that. And then one lady, so this one was really, I missed the first session. It was a 2-part session, and she's living on $2 a meal.
$2 a meal. How
So
do
she
you
was
do
trying
that?
to, well, it was a healthy living on $2 a meal was the main thing. And so she had tried to live off of what someone who gets assistance gets.
Like SNAP benefits.
I believe so. And she said the first week she did it was terrible. She felt awful. She wasn't successful. She didn't know what she was doing. And so she really put herself in their shoes and has been doing this for 2 years and living off that $2 a meal. And so it was really interesting, and
Yeah, it sounds like it.
to live healthily off of that and what she was doing, and I appreciated her self-control and willingness to really the lights just went out. It's almost Halloween too
Yeah.
when we're filming this, but yeah, I appreciated her. But wow, like what a tough process some of our people face, and she was in an urban setting, so a lot of us were thinking about our rural areas and just traveling to town, and I drive almost 30 minutes, and there's several people in the communities with that length of drive, and she was able to walk to the grocery store. But what if you don't have solid transportation? And just thinking about a lot of the barriers that are in place for lower income individuals and getting healthy foods, and
Yeah.
so it was a good session, and I appreciate her.
Anything you thinking you're going to try here?
The family meals is one, and then there was some efforts with 4-H cooking clubs and some district-wide where they would meet, and then they actually went on a culinary tour, so kind of interested in exploring some versions of that, possibly with some other agents, so,
Yeah,
but,
that's cool.
yeah. And then we went to an orchard, and that was fun, but what gave me great amounts of anxiety was, so I guess it costs a lot to pay people to pick. I think they said $20 an hour. I didn't go to the in-depth tour that they had, but there were bushels and bushels of apples on the ground, and some of them good, and my little heart just wanted to get a van full and take them home, but I didn't think, even if I asked, I didn't think they could make it.
You see something on the side of the road, he's like, I'm going to scarf it up.
So Tori, your sister, she called your dad because we paid $24 a bag to pick our own apples.
Yeah.
And your dad's like, why would you pay?
He's like, probably like, come here, I'll pay you $10 to pick apples for me.
Yeah. You can pick apples anytime in Oni, but
you can pick apples, but you're paying.
yeah, Which I picked my apple trees, but only got 16 apples. So,
Well, they're
but
still young, aren't they?
oh yes, they are. And one of the cool apples was a ludicrous apple.
A ludicrous.
So I was nice and brought some back.
Yeah, they were good. It was sour, like
It's like
not
a
tart.
dry.
Yeah, but it's sour, like a sweet sour, like a Sour Patch Kid kind
It was
of.
it was really neat.
It was good.
You know, we don't all get to experience many different types of apples in our area, so getting to try the different ones, that was neat. And the agritourism taking place at that orchard it just blew my mind. It was amazing. There were hundreds of people there on a Monday, so I can't imagine what Saturday is like. But it was 5 generation, and I think town had kind of grew to it, so that actually probably benefited it in ways. So that was cool. I love that.
If you had a farm close to a city,
large city.
Agritourism, there's a lot of people interested in coming, at least seeing, figure out.
I say one day when I grow up, I'll have a pumpkin patch.
Pumpkin patch.
And my husband's family, they used to make molasses, so we've talked about that several times, how cool that would be.
Didn't you also get cursed in Grand Rapids?
Yeah, not cussed, but cursed.
Yeah.
So we were going into this restaurant, and this one gal, I guess, asked the girls in front of me for $1, and they just said no, because really we don't carry much cash, honestly. Even though we traveled, like, I had no cash. And she said, I hope you enjoy your last night on this earth. Oh. And then she started in a whole string of things. It sounded really scary. And I wish that, and we just kind of scurried in. And I wished I'd have said, oh, thank you. We just got here. I appreciate that.
You're so sweet.
But I'm not witty. I think of everything later.
Yeah.
But,
you haven't been deer hunting yet?
No, I haven't. So I've only shot a muzzleloader one time, and it was the first time I killed a buck, and I went with Larry. He was Larry the cable guy at the time.
Yeah, you went with Larry the cable guy.
I went with Larry the cable guy, and
that's a different, not.
Yeah, this is the real Larry the cable guy.
Name's Larry,
and he was a cable guy for many years, and so went with Larry, and we were in the blind and on my mom's place, and this buggy just come out of nowhere, and he was facing, and I'd never shot a muzzleloader. And normally if you shoot a living thing, you don't feel it.
Yeah, your adrenaline's so pumped up.
Yeah, no. I felt like I got kicked by a mule. I don't know if I wasn't holding it full to my shoulder, and there was so much smoke. I don't even know what happened.
Yeah.
And I just sat back like, nursing my shoulder. I was like, oh gosh. But thankfully, he didn't go far, and so that was
Put a good hit on him.
Put a good hit on him. He broke off a tine, running away, ran into a tree.
Oh. How big was he?
He wasn't very big. I don't know what.
Good first,
I don't even remember.
Were you excited?
Well, I was excited. My first deer kill was not enjoyable. I got shot hurt. We can talk more about dealing with things like meat safety in a minute, but that I didn't go hunting for a year or so after that, because it was just, I don't want to say traumatic, but it didn't go good.
It didn't go how you thought.
No, it ended up in a chasing, because it's really let down when you shoot one and they're gone. So, but anyway, enough of that.
I've missed, like, I didn't kill my first deer till I was like 19, and I'd go, like, my dad took me when I was a kid, and I remember the first deer I ever shot at, Dad did give me like a little 20 gauge with some buckshot.
Oh gosh.
And I'm pretty sure it was either a button buck or a doe. It wasn't legal, because we couldn't even we couldn't even, you weren't supposed to kill does, but I was like, no one's gonna know. But I didn't get her. Like I'm like maybe 11
thinking,
years old.
I can't believe you're telling this.
No, like, so it's like the first deer I'd ever seen. My dad, this was back in the day, and Dad just like, sit here and I'll come get you.
Good luck.
Good luck, and don't go walking. Well, she kind of walked by me and then walked around a tree and got behind all this brush. Like, and all I could see was her head, and Dad had told me to, like, shoot for right here, and I was like, maybe it'll go through the brush, and I just tried to shoot through the brush, and she just went off.
I'm glad.
I missed.
I'm glad you missed. That's a terrible shot.
And then one year, I remember, like, I was like, his muzzleloading season, and I had on a purple Shaquille O'Neal jersey, And then I put on my Blaze Orange, and I got my dad's muzzle loader, and I walked all the way up onto the mountain. I'm like maybe 13, 14.
A purple Shaquille O'Neal jersey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
and my
you were
Blaze
you were
Orange.
easy to see.
Yeah. Well, I got up there and just kind of went and sat down, and this little old forked horn, he would have been legal. He walked by, and I got so nervous.
Oh, did you get the jitters?
Shot and missed him, and I missed my first few times, but
Did you really? I didn't know that.
yeah, I didn't kill one till I was 19. Like,
Oh well, I was like upper 20s. When I went to you have to. I didn't make it. I didn't get grandfathered in, and I went to the education, and I was the only person there over like 10 to learn. So here I am. Thankfully, Brandon went with me, but I think I made a 98 or 100 on it, and I beat him, and I was really proud of myself. But
brag where you can brag.
Yeah, I gotta. Yeah, this is my moment,
Yeah.
and I scored really high on that exam. But yeah, this last year though, I went hunting by myself for the first time ever, and it's like I had an afternoon, and Brandon told me if I walk up, and I've never really done much walking. I've done a lot of blinds. I don't like being up in a tree. I'm a little scaredy, and then I don't like to walk around. That just feels weird. But anyway, so I did. I walked up along the field behind my house, and kind of went around hay bales and tried to kind of stalk through there. And then I went to cut through onto our lease property, but there had been a lot of trees logged, and I blew a bunch of deer out of there. And I was like, well, great.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, I'm just going to enjoy my afternoon. So I slipped through there, and I found a really pretty tree, and I was like, well, I'm going to hang out here. And it was getting towards the end of shooting hours, and I had my new gun, which that's key. Actually, I stole it from Brandon, really, but
Yeah.
it had such a nice trigger. I'm real bad to apparently jerk when I shoot a rifle.
Tensing up, expecting the kick, or
I don't know what it is. When I pull the trigger, I think I yank or something. Like I get too excited, and that's why I think I had that gut shot experience with my doe. But anyway, so this was the gun I shot my antelope with, and I love it. And I took it with me, and it's really lightweight and has that really great trigger on it. And I was ready to leave, and I was like, well, I'm not just going to stand up. I'm going to look one last time. And I looked around a tree, and there was a doe, and I was like, oh my goodness. And so I learned when I shot my antelope, like, check the settings on your scope.
Yeah.
Don't be stupid like I am half the time.
You
Every
weren't
time I've been
zoomed
turkey
in?
hunting, I've done something stupid.
Yeah.
My antelope, I was not zoomed in. It's a miracle that I had such a great shot on him, but testament to that gun. I love that gun. And so I leaned around the tree, and there it was. So I got myself braced really nice. Like, I got my setup good because I didn't want to shake or anything.
Yeah.
And when I pulled the trigger, that thing hit the ground, and I was like, oh man, I've never had one do that before. And that was a really exciting moment.
It is. I don't think people understand it.
Oh, man.
We respect animals, and
Oh, yeah.
we're going to eat these animals, but it's like this.
Well, this animal takes the
feeling
least amount of resources. This
Yeah.
is a wild animal that lives off of what's just growing out in nature, or our garden. It they can get into that, and so I did that, and I called Brandon. I was like, well, what do I do now? So he made me field dress it, and so that kind of leads me into a little bit what I wanted to talk about today is safe
deer handling.
Wild
After-
game. So when we went to Wyoming, we made field dressing kits. Of course, we backpack hunted then, so we had to do everything in the field. But even if you're around here, I really don't want a parasite. I don't know about you. You may have one already. I don't know, but
Me and my tapeworm.
you and your tapeworm.
Yeah.
But you don't really want trichinosis in it, and it is around here. So if you're killing wild hogs or deer, any wild game, bear, yes. And so bring your gloves with you. So make a nice little pack. Put a few pairs of gloves in there. Get you some alcohol wipes or alcohol spray to clean your knife. So when I had gut shot that doe, you're really exposing your knife to the contents of that bow.
Yeah.
So you're most likely not bringing two skinning knives. You know what I'm saying?
You're getting doo-doo on your knife.
Yeah,
Think about that.
You're getting doo-doo, so parasites and bacteria. And so cleaning or field dressing a deer, it does take some strength and some maneuvering. So, but I got it done with a lot of assistance, or, verbal assistance. And so, but you don't want the parasite trichinella, so trichinosis. So wear your gloves, bring your alcohol wipes. So you're cleaning your knife. So say you're field dressing it, you're going to clean your knife multiple times. Like you're getting you're cutting around the anus, you're getting the butt out, those kind of things. Like we want to try to keep ourselves from those parasites.
Yeah,
and
you probably don't, I don't think about it. I
Yeah.
bought some gloves and then I forget them at home.
I know some think about it more with hogs.
Yeah, in my hunting ability.
You didn't think you'd even have anything. But a lot of people are thinking about it more with wild hogs, but, deer too. And so once you've field dressed them, you really want to get that meat below 40 as soon as you can. Like, this is a race. This isn't let's poke around and do this. We need to cool that animal down quickly.
Yeah.
And so in our part of Arkansas, a lot of times it's just not cool enough to do that by hanging outside.
Yeah, we're late October, and it's a little cooler now, but it's still it's been 80 degrees, 90 degrees all October except for this week, and then it's probably going to warm up again and going into November for a little bit.
There's usually always a hot week in November. But in addition to that, so you've cleaned it or you field dressed it, and then you're going to be breaking it down, and you try to get it below that 40 as fast as you can. And so we typically put ours on ice, water bath, or however you choose to do it. Get them down.
Father-in-law, he'd fill up 2-liter water or 2-liter soda bottles with water, freeze them, and then throw them in his chest.
Okay.
Because I've heard you don't want to get that meat wet.
I don't know. I think that's where you're getting into a lot of personal preference, because we'll soak ours with salt water, whereas I hear other people say, why on earth would you do that? But you know what? It works great for me at my house. So I let mine soak a few days in salt ice water before I do anything. But yes, if that's not how you do it, that's fine. Either way, just get it below that 40. Or if you're taking it to facility, they're going to hang it in refrigeration. But so after that, you're really not done with the stuff you have to do for safety. So that parasite your meat needs to be frozen for at least 30 days at 0 degrees to kill out that parasite. So, if you are, and this is really going to come into play. So if you're baking it, you're going to be getting it at high temps that are going to be safe. Yeah. But if you're making jerky, this is where that's an important step.
Yeah.
So we don't want to have that parasite still living.
Good deer jerky. That's probably the best jerky. Somebody that can.
I love making deer jerky. Or my mother-in-law makes good smoked sausage, and Brandon's made some summer sausage style. So then you've done your 30 days at 0 degrees. So that's important. So we're killing that parasite. But then if you're making jerky, you're typically not getting above 140 degrees Fahrenheit. So when I've made jerky, I thankfully have a dehydrator that I can set the temp. Mm-hmm. But some of these smaller ones, they don't really have a temp set. But mine doesn't go above 145. And so it takes 160 degrees to kill bacteria. So that don't add up. So that doesn't work out. So what you can do is, so you've already dehydrated your strips how you want them. If they started out a 1/4 inch thick or less, you can put them in the oven preheated to 275 and put them in there for 10 minutes. Or if they're thick enough that you can get an accurate internal temp, you want to get them to at least 160. And I think a lot of people have no idea about that. Yeah. And I'm not into having a parasite or some kind of bad bacteria. And so there's a lot of steps to help keep yourself safer. And, flies come into play in this part of the world because, like we were talking, the temps just aren't as low. Yeah. And so when we were out and we backpacked out, we had to do different set of game bags and things to try to protect our meat as fast as possible from the flies. And so that's something to consider too, depending on what type of hunting you're doing. But get you the gloves, get you the alcohol wipes, freeze your meat, and get it to 160 when you make jerky. So that's my safety tips.
Well, tell us about this antelope you killed. I want to hear about it. Okay,
so this is my one big hunting story. I don't have any more, so this is all I got. So a few years ago, my spouse has been out hunting antelope in Wyoming a few times, and I was like, I want to go. And so I don't think he thought I was serious at first, but I was. And so he got me the nice pack, and we'd practice walking with that in my shoes. And then that's when I took possession of the gun. And and I popped a milk jug at 400 yards, and I was like, I'm ready. Take me to Wyoming. So at the time, it was really hard to get whatever cartridge I had. So I had 2 shots basically to sight my gun in. That was it. And so that I had enough heading out. So we hunted the crazy woman herd of antelope or pronghorn in Wyoming. And I had been watching the only hunting show I liked was pretty famous right before I went. So I was getting all jacked up. And he explained how to find antelope sheds. And if I hadn't watched that, I wouldn't have known.
Yeah.
They look like wood, splintered wood. Well, so our first day, we hunted only public land. So we had to pack in everything. We were walking everything. And
How far did you walk?
The first day, this property, we did 7 miles. And so part of Wyoming is flat, but not this part. And it's very visually misleading because the depth perception out there is very thrown off. And you can be looking at thousands of acres, whereas in our part of Stone County, you're not going to be looking at thousands of acres. And so if you've ever hunted public land, I got my first taste of the frustration kind of.
Yeah.
Because we were going in and we seen one, so we're starting to work our way. And antelope, they can see very well. So if they see you, you're done.
Yeah.
And so you have to really watch that visual. And we were stalking, and then someone else was in front of us stalking. So we were nice, and we backed off and headed. And then the next one we started stalking, someone else was ahead. And so 7 miles, and that was just the first half of my day. So that wasn't even my second half of the day. So that was just one public land piece that we were on. And so all my equipment was performing well and everything. And we saw a lot of does, but it's first day, and we had a tag we could do buck or doe. And so we met up with our buddies, and we were hunting another piece of property, and it was like a plateau. So the elevation went up a few hundred yards going up it, and then it was flat on the top. And so we split up, and then we met back around on the outer edge. And you've got to be really careful out there because fences mean nothing as far as property lines. So there's public land and private all. They're together. And antelope, they do not jump a fence. They'll go under, but they will not.
Yeah, I heard that they've evolved to not jump over.
Yeah, they're not jumping over that fence. And you look at them and you're like, you could do it. You could do it. But they don't. So they went around the northern side of the property, and we went around the southern. We met up on an edge, and we were looking down and just glassing. So just sitting there having a good time, watching. And then Brandon saw a buck. And so there was this ravine, and it had green grass in the bottom of it. So I guess that's why they were there. And it was late enough in the evening. It's like, I've walked like 8 miles. Do I have time to get down there? And so we decided that we'd let them bed down for the night. We hoped.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if deer around here, I don't know if they're going to stay there all night. Yeah. But thankfully, we went back the next morning. We got there first. It's nothing. You got to be the first person there. And we got up top, and we couldn't see anything. I mean, it was black pretty much. But then when it finally got daylight, we couldn't see them anywhere. And a herd of cattle moved in. And the Angus cattle out there, the fattest, roly-poliest looking things. You don't even know what they're eating. Apparently, the grass must be very nutritious.
It's probably... I don't know how nutritious it is, but they probably just got so much.
They had, I forgot how many acres that they were running on public land. I guess, you pay
Is
or
it
however.
BLM?
We weren't on, that was not BLM, that was state. We never had any luck on BLM. We saw a few here and there, but they're real savvy over on that BLM land. But we thought, we didn't see them. So we thought maybe they're in that ravine. So we went all the way down the plateau, several hundred yards down, and there was these 2 goofy horses, and they come into play a little bit later. And then so we slinked around to the back of that ravine, and we walked the ravine. Just every corner we'd watch and check. So we were really slow moving. And then we blew all the cows out of there. And then so we crawled. And so there's cactus that aren't big.
Yeah.
There's little tiny cactuses everywhere. And so we crawled up on these with all these cactuses, and there he was. So I had to crawl, I forgot how far, like flat.
Yeah.
To get to where I could get. I belly crawled, I couldn't even like I just could not lift up, or he could have seen me.
Yeah.
And so I belly crawled. I forgot how far, and then Brandon was behind me a little bit, and he was at the time 275 when I first saw him.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if I had to. We brought these nice little bipods, but I can't remember. You know, in the moment, you don't know. Well, this is where I was an idiot, because I usually do something stupid when I'm hunting. So my scope should have been up to like 15, and it was on an 8.
It wasn't zoomed in.
It was not zoomed in.
You're looking at a little
Hardly
tiny
at all.
critter
And so I adjusted for my yardage. Thankfully, the wind wasn't going to be a factor that day, and he kept moving. And I was like, oh. So he's getting about like 300 yards, and then Brandon's like, you ready? And so he made a noise, and he stopped, and I shot, and I first thought he was going to take off. Like, I thought I had a bad shot because of the way he just went. Like, it's like they're the fastest land mammal in the nation.
Yeah.
And so he just went, but then he didn't go far, and he fell over. And like I could have cried, like I was just like the relief of it. And then, but that's when more things kind of happen, like the work gets started, because like I said, we packed in, and it feels really cool to do that kind of hunt. And so we're going over there, and those two goofy horses are like, hello, we're here to help. And so they run up, and I like horses, but they kind of scare me.
Yeah.
And so they run up, and they wanted to help us with it. So I guess that's what they must do, is help carry calves. And so they just leave their horses in with the herd. And so they were good buddies, but sadly, you know, if we could have had them pack him out for us, we would have.
Just put this over you.
So we took our photos, and then we had to get going because it was starting to warm up, because it was kind of warm that day. And we took black trash bags and cut them in half and laid them out. So as we were taking our meat off the bone, we were putting it in our dry bags to protect from flies. And then all of a sudden I heard like this chortling, and then it got louder and louder, and it was some of those grouse. I never could see them.
What did it sound like?
I can't. I can't do it. No, I can't. They're like, I don't know. No, it was like if a turkey and a chicken had a baby. That was the noise that these grouse were making. And it sounded, I mean, there could have been 30 of them. There could have been 5 of them. Yeah. But, you know, you never see them. And that was really cool to hear them, you know, moving through. And so we got everything. And you can't, there's waste rules. So you've got to get everything off the bone. So we got all packed up, and I got the head because, you know, I killed it. So. Mm-hmm. But we ate lunch right before we walked up that, you know, so here my pack has at least 40 more pounds, or maybe not even, I don't know, but it felt like it. Yeah. And so Brandon had way more than I did, so I get my pack on and have to go up, you know, this few hundred yards of elevation. I just ate a sandwich, and it's like 80 degrees. And so I'm feeling kind of pukey a good way up, but I turn around to just kind of, the way you turn around, it makes your pack less heavy. And I look down, and there's a full set of mule deer sheds. Oh, cool. And I was like, I'm so glad I needed to puke, because, I mean, and so I went and got them. So that was awesome. And then I packed my deer out, and then we cut him up in the hotel park and area. But they were set up for you to do that. Yeah. And it was cool. And the lady that worked there called me the lady hunter, because I guess she had not seen a woman hunting. And so that made me feel special. I would love to do that again. Sounds fun. I would do it again in a heartbeat. That was a really good experience. And the next day we ended up maybe not the next day, because it was super windy. That was not fun. But then Brandon ended up getting a doe in the same area. Yeah. And so we were good to go. And then we went through and went sightseeing and come back home, and I loved it. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Yeah.
That first deer that I ever killed, I didn't handle his meat properly because I was too excited. I think I drove him around everywhere and showed everybody, and he was just this he's a pretty nice little wide.
Little tenderoni.
Yeah, 7-point. But I was like, I'm getting this thing mounted. He's so weird. He's awesome.
Did you?
No. Like I think I ended up like cutting his his horns off and making a set of rattling antlers. But yeah, like it was on a Sunday. I was like, I'd stayed up all Saturday night. I think I think the day before.
You stayed up all night?
Well, not all night, but I'd stayed up late. But like the day before was the opening day of gun season.
So is a modern gun.
Modern gun. And like I'd set all day. Like I set like I got there before daylight and I didn't move, didn't eat nothing, and sat there all day.
And you were awake?
Yeah, like I was sitting there hunting and didn't see nothing. And so I think we hung out, like me and Ryan hung out and stayed up late, and kind of woke up the next morning before church, and I was like, well, I don't even, what's the point? Well,
that sounds about like you still.
What's the point?
I'm not going to see anything. Why
I'm not
bother?
going to see anything. I was like, well, I'll go out there. And I'd hunted with the shotgun all the years, but when I turned 18, I'd bought me a little Walmart special rifle, 270. And so it was the first time I was really hunting with a rifle. And like I just go out and set up against a tree kind of behind the blueberries there. The day before Dad had killed one right there is why I went back there. Okay. And he killed a pretty nice little 9-point. And I was like, dadgummit. Because I'd set at this one place where I thought I'd see one and didn't see nothing. And he killed one. But then I go back there because he's like, you should go set there. And so I just go set up against a tree. And it was about 8:30. Like I'm just kind of sitting there. And I hear shh, shh, shh. And I kind of look, and there's a buck coming right behind me.
Oh, it wasn't a squirrel? I just knew it was a big old squirrel. It was a buck,
and I kind of just stood up on the tree and turned around and hit him. And he hit the ground, and I'm like, woo!
Did he hop up?
And then he hopped up, and he kind of ran off, and I was like, no! But he didn't go. He didn't go far, and I got him. Oh man, I think I was so pumped up. I think I carried him out. Like
you were just the adrenaline.
Yeah, I just was like pulled him out, and I think I drove him, went and showed my dad, and then drove him. Had you
even field dressed him?
I gutted him.
Oh, okay.
Tagged him, and then I think I went over and showed Ryan, Lance, and Gwen, and then went and showed everybody.
Anybody
I was like, look at this. And I think I might have a picture. We'll post some pictures of her. You got any of your antelope?
Oh, yeah. I got mine mounted. He's on my wall. I'm proud as a peacock about that thing.
But I finally got him and got the meat.
I remember someone related to you hanging up one. It was like 60 degrees and flies on it. Yeah, I remember that. You not remember that? Yeah, I remember that. Didn't eat any of that.
No. How can you preserve deer meat?
So, Larry the cable guy called me, speaking of him. He called me this week asking about pressure canners. So, a lot of people love raw packed pressure canned deer meat. And so, when you raw pack, it's just meat. You're not having to worry about juices or searing or anything like that. So, you have to follow the recommendations, of course. Not everything's the same, but you want all your deer pieces the same size, and you're going to pack that jar into the 1-inch headspace. Add about half teaspoon of salt or a teaspoon for a quart, like if you had a quart jar. And then one of the individuals that have come to some of my canning classes before, she likes to add a bay leaf. So it depends on if you like that flavor or not. And then you can it. And so the reason he had called me was wondering how much water to have in your pressure canners. So make sure that you're reading up on your guidelines. There's a lot of really bad information about canning. So go to the National Center of Home Food Preservation. So easy to preserve book we sell here at the office, or just call me. And so 2 to 3 inches of water in the bottom of your canner. And cold canning is not a thing. You want it a little warmed up, but not too hot if you're putting in raw pack meat.
Yeah, you've done some like meat canning classes.
We did, and so we did a raw pack class one time, and the amount of meat it took, it was over $100 for beef. So that's probably why most people are just doing it with deer. But so when you've canned it like that, you can just heat it back up and pour it over rice or mashed potatoes or something like that.
Is there any way you can like mess it up?
Well, I'm sure if you canned it wrong, yeah. So follow those proper procedures. Have the correct headspace, the correct amount of time. Know your elevation.
What
So.
would it be like? What would be happening to you if you did can it
Well,
wrong?
so if you didn't can it correctly, you could get bacteria. You could get botulism, which is a very bad way to die. So that's yeah. You can have a few interesting things happen, but I mean, if you follow the procedures, you're good to go.
Follow the procedures, you'd
Yeah.
be good to go.
Yeah, but that would be a great way to preserve your deer meat, especially if you're trying to be more sustainable. And so, when we've done some of the meat pressure canning classes, a lot of men are usually who are hunters of all kinds.
How long would it be good for?
We just recommend a year for all canned goods.
All canned goods, a year.
Which you want it. You're gonna want it gone before your next
season.
And that's how I feel about, anything in my freezer, deer meat and everything. And so if we're getting it at the end of the season and we still have some random things, that's a great time for summer sausage or something. But I like my deer meat grilled. It's usually what I like. So fried's always good too, but we usually grill it.
Yeah.
What's your favorite way for deer meat?
I like to do the soak it in the Thousand Island dressing in like Moore's or Dale's, and then do the stuffed
the pockets.
Yeah, and make the little pockets
with the cream cheese and jalapenos and.
I like that.
Yeah, that's good too.
And then we'll do a lot of ground and just.
You can
do it in like tacos mostly because
that's what y'all.
You can't tell the difference.
Yeah, and it's a lean meat, and so if you're wanting to go more the lean route and that kind of thing, then deer's a great option. And we got a lot of public land here for you to review regulations and go out yourself and see what you can do. Pretty hot topic lately has been beef. You've been hearing a lot on the news and the cattle and what's going on with that.
Yeah, so I'm not an economist, but I know some. And so we got to think of it like this. So I'll try to explain it
simple it down for me, please.
Explain it to me like I'm 5.
10. Yeah.
So it's a supply and demand. So beef cattle, here in Arkansas, we've got several different types. We've got guys that do cow calves. We got guys that do backgrounding or stockers. And they don't have like feedlots here. If you've ever drove through Kansas, and they're all going to be out there in the Texas, Kansas area for feedlots. But a lot of guys do cow calves, and when they sell them, they're selling by the pound. And right now we're at like historically low cattle inventories, like due to the droughts the past several years all over, like in Texas, all over
in the fall.
Yeah, we've had several droughts here in the fall. What do you do during a drought? You've got cattle, there's a drought, there's no grass. Well, once the grass runs out, then you've got to start feeding them. Well, you're spending money to feed them. So what do they got to do with them? They've got to sell them. And so over the past few years, prices have kind of come up. Back in 2014, we had a good run. I think prices were like mid $2, $2.50, I think, maybe a little higher. But I don't think it got above $3 then.
I don't think so.
But this summer, several things happened, over the past year, several things happened. One, they found that New World screwworm over there. It's come up from South America into Mexico, not New Mexico, but into Mexico, and they found it, it kind of slowly moving up. And so they shut down importing beef from Mexico, and that made, the demand stayed the same. You think about going to the store and buying beef. We still like to have steaks, still like to have hamburgers as consumers, and we're willing to pay a certain price. I don't know how much people are willing to pay right now, but that's kind of what's happened. Is prices in the stores have gone up. Yes, farmers are seeing an increase in what they're receiving, but again, they're only getting right now $3.30 a pound for what we've got guys doing. They're cow calves, which means they've got the mama cows and they're having calves hit the ground. typically guys do it, and they'll be fall calvers or spring calvers, which what's preferred is to have a calving season, a short calving season, and that would be 90 days or less. You have guys that do a year-round calving season. That's not
I know
preferred.
a lady that has. Yeah, we were working with her to try to get her
shorten
at least
up.
2 seasons.
And if you think about it, why you want, so if you're a buyer, you want similar cattle, like you want them to be uniform. And think about, okay, well, that calf can average, maybe gain 2 pounds a day. That's pretty easy to do. If you're providing adequate nutrition to its mom and it's, nursing on the mom, 2 pounds of gain a day. Well, if we have a 100-day calving season, this is what I say to a lot of my guys, try and convince them to shorten it up. So that calf born on the first day, he's going to gain 2 pounds a day. The calf born on the last day, 100 pounds, that calf's going to be 200 pounds heavier when you're going, and how you do it, you wean them all at the same time typically. You're not going to say, well, he was born 100 days later, so I'm going to leave him on the mom for 100 more days. No, we're typically weaning at the same time, and once they wean, that's when guys, send them to the cell typically. Some guys will keep them up and feed them to get a little bit heavier weight. So
that's quite a difference in
so looking at weights and prices right now. So feeder cattle futures, which is what's dropped in the past few days due to the announcement that we're going to I bet it happens, that we're going to start importing more beef from Argentina. The reason they say is because they say that our product is high quality. Like, we're producing a lot of cattle that have good marbling, producing choice quality steaks, or even into prime steaks, but we don't have a lot of burger meat. So they're wanting to import from Argentina to kind of make it, to increase the inventory because the demand's so high, to lower prices. Well, this first drop, you're probably not going to see any drop in prices at the grocery store. I haven't been and looked at meat prices, but I think I heard the other day that steaks are like $25 a pound. I think burger meat's $8 a pound. I get all my beef from my father.
Yeah,
y'all are the same.
Mine's from labor.
Yeah,
we pay in.
I've
not done a lot of labor lately, but Brandon does.
You get paid in beef.
Yep.
But so think about it. You're paying $25 a pound at the store. Well, the farmer, they're only getting $3.30 off the live animal that they're selling, and that's for like a 500-pound animal. As they get heavier, that price typically goes down. So feeder cattle, which is what we consider like 500 to 800 pounds, these are going to be the ones that are going into a feedlot to eat, and they're going to feed it with grain and get it up to like 1,100, 1,400 pounds. And those are what we call live cattle. And I think live cattle prices I think it got down to, after the announcement, it was at like 247 per hundredweight. It dropped to 224 for live cattle prices. And then, feeder cattle prices fell from $380 a hundredweight, so every 100 pounds, so to $339 per hundredweight. And so you think about that, if you're a farmer, and say you're a spring calving farmer, which means you probably had calves in February. If you're less than 90 days, say hit the ground in February, March, April. You've got calves throughout that time, and you're going to leave them on their mom for 5-6 months, and then you're going to wean them. So what do we do when we wean them? We wean them, and then we take them to the sale barn to sell. Well, if, a couple of weeks ago, if we were taking them to sell and they're $380 a hundredweight, let's say we take a 500-pound calf. That's $1,900 you would have got per calf, 3 weeks ago, compared to, say, you selling today and the price has dropped to $339 a hundredweight. And that 500-pound calf is $1,600, almost $1,700, $1,695. So couple $100 that you lost out on. And think about, you think, oh, well, that, what's a couple $100? Well, let's say had 100 mama cows, 100% calf crop, and got 100 calves. What's that over?
It's 30,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So
a big difference.
that's a big difference. And farmers' costs are so razor thin. So my dad, he does backgrounding or stockers. And right now he's kind of waiting. So he'll buy calves anywhere from like 300 to 500 pounds. And then he's going to feed them and bring them up to about 700 pounds and then sell them. So right now he's not buying any because, let's say the price dropped. And so, I'm going to take a gamble and say that's as cheap as they're going to drop, and I'm going to buy them for $339. Well, then they start importing beef, and it actually drops it, say, back down to $300. Well, will I ever get that back? Because I'm going to put feed into them. I'm going to, have to doctor them. Maybe you're going to have death, loss, mortality. You're going to have some get sick. And they're not going to gain as well. So there's a lot of things that farmers have to deal with, and they have, cost of feed can be high. I know, like grain right now, I think's cheaper. I've seen a lot about row crops, and I mentioned earlier how going to that iLead deal and not being around row crops and seeing how, what they doing. And then one of the specialists there brought up a chart telling us about it, how they know going in that they're not going to come out to where I'm going to plant seed, fertilize, and try to grow as much yield as I can. And that's what they're even trying to do. Like, they're trying to save costs so much that they're trying to get to where they can plant a lower rate. So say I was going to seed something at 100 pounds per acre. Well, what if I can lower my count per acre by just a little bit? Can I still increase my yield enough where I'm not having as much seed cost and maybe still get a good yield? But they do all that knowing that on the other side, their product's not going to be worth what they've put into it. And so they're selling at a loss. And that's pretty nerve-wracking,
Yeah. It would be tough going in, knowing.
And, it's some monies you make money, and then maybe some years you lose money. But you get a couple of these several years where you've lost money. And I know, mentioned subsidies, some people are for it, some people are against it. But you think about free markets and think about keeping stuff cheap. That's how they do it, is they subsidize these farmers to kind of control, how much the
price is going to be.
How much the price is going to be, to kind of keep it to where it's a little cheaper. And so if you're against government giving farmers subsidies, well, are you willing to maybe pay a little bit more? Think about cotton. What do we use cotton for?
I think you're wearing some.
Yeah. I already think like a $50 shirt's pretty expensive, and think about that going up. That's and again, it's the farmer's not seeing that. That's more of
they're not getting
the final price. Yeah, we're paying $50 for a shirt, but farmer's not getting that. Mentioned going to the cotton and the doctor there, the specialist, the breeder. He was telling us, he showed us a graph about like 1970 prices, and then prices went up. The price of cotton per pound is the same today, 2025, as it was 1970s.
Really?
Yeah, same price, like 62 cents a pound.
Wow. Think how much everything's changed since 1970.
Yeah, how much things have changed, how much input costs have gone up.
Wow.
And that's what, in extension, I like to promote farmers. I'm pro, we provide unbiased information, but I am biased towards farmers and agriculture, and
Well, we were raised, on farms.
And I support Arkansas agriculture, and a lot of Arkansas agriculture is row crop over there in the Delta. Again, I don't know a whole lot about it, but I respect those guys for doing it. And, you know, when they're hurting, like when prices are down, well, that just means that feed costs for cattle guys are low. And it's like not some things that are good for some farmers, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Like one side of our state may be hurting and the other benefiting, and then can go both ways. It's wild.
But then
the
consumer, they think that the farmer's out there trying to kill them, you know.
They think the farmer's just rolling in the dough.
They
think everything's a large farm, but it's so many families, generations
that are going into it. And
at our NEAFCS conference, you know, I didn't realize, but farmer suicide rate is 2 to 3 times higher. You know, you say that, and you're like, I don't know about that. Well, I didn't go to this session, but in one county, within 2 years, 5 farmers had committed suicide.
Dang.
And think about your county and your communities and the amount of people you know, how big of an effect that would have. So with all of this happening, and we're talking about tariffs and bringing beef and then subsidies, and then we've got government shutdown and so much happening at one time, you know, you really got to look out for those farmers and look for signs, look for seeing if they're changing and acting different, and you know, what can we do to support our farmers' mental health also.
Yeah.
And I know we don't like to talk about that a lot of times, but we don't want to not talk about it and then, you know, lose somebody in our community who's feeling the stressors.
Yeah, and so this can be real stressful because, you know, you thinking the cattle market's really good right now, and you may say we wanted to get into it, so we're going out and buying them at these high prices. It may not, you know, we're going to take a risk hoping they go up, but then they drop. There's risk to it and reward to it, but historically farmers they're not getting paid for the work they're doing. These guys aren't working, you know, 40 hours a week. It's 120 hours. Like, I've always thought my dad, I was like, he's got to like doing it. Cause
that's all he does.
Because that's all he does. Every day, 7 days a week,
when a live animal's depending on you,
then
you're never off work.
Yeah, you're not off work, and he's feeding, working them, and
and the cow-calf guys, you know, if you're having heifers calving, that's quite a time for you.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be doing
you'd be
late checks. I've done
checks
2:30 check before,
mm-hmm.
and a black cow's hard to find in the dark. I can tell you.
I've heard that if you feed them at night, they're more likely to calve.
You'll have to ask my father-in-law. He was doing some sort of thing like that. I don't know how it went. We'll have to have a few years of date on that. But
you know, we talk about mental health and the stressors that farmers are under, and that all of us are under. We're all so kind of, I would say, give people grace, but also recognize that, you know, we're all going through it. And I'd just say it's, you know, I'm of the mind, I'm pretty laid back, that it's all going to work out.
I'm kind of humor will get me through, or, you know, but, you know, you got to have the perspective of your value as a person. And if you're not here, everyone else suffers. And I know my family went through something, you know, it was an accident, but, you know, our lives have not been the same. And I'd much rather have him here than not. And, you know, we try to realize that, you know, you're important and you're needed to be around, and look out for your neighbor. You know, we're a community here. We're a small town, you know, just look out for each other and just try to, you know, control what you can. You know, you can't control everything, and, you know, do what you can do. And
one thing we have to accept is, if you think you can control everything, and when things go out of whack, that's when you have a crash out.
You have the dad crash.
Crash out.
And if, you know, things get a little past what you can handle, you know, reach out to somebody.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's Halloween, and I remember
happy Halloween. Anybody going trick-or-treating?
Well, you know, I'm going to go trick-or-treating, but used to, when I was driving from Mountain View to New Nada or Timbo, on Buddy Long Hill, there's some people that might throw dough.
So if you're here in Stone County this time of year, you want to be very careful driving down the road because, especially around New Nada to Timbo area, because I don't know if they still do it, but they used to throw dough.
They used to.
Throw biscuit dough. Like,
Yeah.
So let's tell the story.
Which one is that?
Someone's experienced one time. So I'd heard of this throwing dough, never understood it. It was what it was. But one day I was hanging out with some buddies, and they like, hey man, we're gonna go up here and we're gonna throw dough. I'd never done it. I was like, okay, what is it? Well, what they'd do is they would get some flour and mix it to a good consistency to where you could make a little ball, and then they'd stand up on a hill and throw it at cars as they drive by. And my first experience with that was we were up on the hill, like we get up there, and it's like, all right, here's the rules of throwing dough. Don't hit any cops.
That was the only rule?
That was the only rule.
Now, I will say, I don't recall a rock ever being in any of the dough that was thrown off of that hill.
Yeah, we didn't put rocks in it. I've heard of people being little jerks.
In other places, yeah.
But anyways, with dough throwing, they get up on a hill, and then they'd throw them as cars go by. Well, my first experience, the one rule, don't throw at any cops. Well, that first car that comes through, everybody just kind of stands up there and just kind of lobs it. And we're up on a hill looking down to the road, and bam, 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 blue lights. And they flip around. Well, I run over, like we all giggly, running in through the woods, like, oh no. And then I remember that the cops went up on the hill and then just kind of walked through.
Were your vehicles all up there?
No, we'd parked our vehicle somewhere and walked up there. And so the cops come walking through with their flashlights and stuff. Well, I kind of went up and got up against a tree and just kind of pulled leaves up on me, and I was just kind of sitting up against a tree.
I've not heard this.
Yeah. And so I'm
We're teaching kids valuable information, folks. Send your kids to us.
This is history.
Yeah, it is.
This is history.
Historical.
Because pretty sure, well, I won't say. But so the cops kind of walked through, and I kind of, after they left, I'm kind of sitting around there in the woods. I didn't have a cell phone or nothing. And so I'm kind of walking through the woods, and all of a sudden I see a silhouette of a guy. I didn't know who it was, if it was friend or foe. I didn't know. And so I just kind of laid down in the gravel or in the leaves there, and it's getting closer.
Oh, gosh, I'm getting nervous.
Getting closer. And I mean, it's right on top of me.
Did you grab it?
No. And then I feel a foot tap me on the head, and I jump up. And he's like, ah! And it was one of the guys, and he's like, dude, where did everybody? And he had a cell phone, and he called some of the guys we were with. They left us there, and they went back to town.
Oh, isn't that the story of all your bad? Isn't that the beginning of a lot of bad stories for you?
So
they left y'all there?
Yeah, they left me and this other guy there, and we're like, well, the cop, they left. Well, everybody comes back, and we're throwing dough again, and that's kind of, it was fun. Might have gotten into a fight.
Yeah, I remember that.
One time we got shot at. One time.
Did you actually?
So we were. This was
a gun went off. You're not sure where. This was with
your spouse. We were up there and we were throwing dough, and this car just kind of slowed down, and we see something come out the window, and then boom. So I don't know if they were shooting at us or just. But it was at least a warning shot. And so we run. Getting into mischief.
Yeah, the fight, that's the first time you met my parents. You'd kind of got a little ground in the gravel for a minute. And...
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, good stories. Yep. Good times.
Don't fire us.
Be careful out there this
Yeah.
Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.